If you could spend a moment with some remarkable people and discover what their life sounds like, what would you ask? Welcome to Are We On Air? An audio encounter. I'm Arman, and each episode will feature one conversation with an inspiring friend of mine who will share with us the soundtrack to their life. Bonjour mes amis and welcome back to another episode of Are We On Air? Live from the studio of one of the hottest fashion designers coming out of Paris today, the lovely LUDOVIC de Saint Sernin. What a lovely and boozy afternoon did we have, overlooking the Parisian rooftops, popping a bottle of rosé champagne and talking about music. How lovely. We covered everything from Ludovic's inspirations, the role of music in his creations, his approach to redefining masculinity, and the influence that Robert Mapplethorpe played in his life. But we also touched on his life soundtrack, of course, and what a fun house party would sound like if Ludovic would be DJing. Another wonderful episode and dose of chicness in preparation for our next Are We On Air event, which you are all invited to on June 21st during the Fête de la Musique in Paris, in the Jardin Tuileries outside at Lulu's. It's free, it's public, it's going to be insane, and you are invited. So come by or watch it live on areweonair.com. We will announce the lineup the day of. Now, as always, if you haven't already, then do follow us on Instagram at Are We On Air and listen to all the playlists and interviews on our Spotify and Apple channels at Are We On Air and on areweonair.com. Alors, pop that bottle of champagne and let's get to it. Et voilà.
Perfect.
On a hot and steamy afternoon. Let's start the interview right. There you go.
Perfect.
Well, salute to you.
Hi.
So welcome to Are We On Air? What a pleasure to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so excited.
Yeah. I mean, you're a music head as well. We had to have you on the show. Come on.
Of course. I love music.
Tell me. I heard you're also DJing. I'm like, what?
I mean, I'm like a low-key secret DJ. Like, I like to think of myself as like, if I was a DJ, I would probably be Paris Hilton. And, just like DJing in festivals. And it's just like the most random thing. But there has been designer DJs before me. I'm like not the first one. But I just like to DJ for my friends. But it ends up being a lot of work, actually.
Also the pressure of maybe to deliver. And also you have the right away a response. Are they on the floor or not? Are they dancing or not?
Exactly. And I do like to do some sort of a playlist, but I do go like organically with the vibe of each person and how the crowd feels. So you can never predict what you're going to put next. But I love it.
That's what makes a good DJ, though, to read a crowd on the floor. There you go. So it's already, the foundation is there.
Yeah, exactly.
But before we go into your playlist and what you're playing for your friends, let's start where it all began. With what's your earliest significant musical memory that shaped you as an artist?
Well, I love to think about music like as something where it defines the person's journey and their own iconic journey. And so like, I think growing up, I had girls like Alizée, who's like a French pop icon, and she was incredible. And she was produced by Mylène Farmer, who's also iconic. And I think these girls are really interesting. And actually, the first presentation that I ever did for the brand back in 2017, we had her music playing. And I just love how, when an artist is very self-aware of creating their own imagery, of course, through like music videos, but also through storytelling and the lyrics, like the whole fantasy around them. And so early on, just because, when you're a designer, it's all about building your identity and like discovering who you are through music. I was very inspired by that. The same way that like for reading, I only like autobiographies just because I feel like it's a real person telling a story versus like fictions is not really, it doesn't excite me as much. I love a real story.
I have that same connection with autobiographies. Like when you go into a nice bookstore and there's an autobiography that really catches your eye and you're like, great, and you can't let it go out of your hand. And then, okay, the book is done now. And then I look around, okay, what else is to read? And it's like something fictional. I'm like, read 2 pages and I'm like, I'm okay.
Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't inspire. It doesn't get me so much. It's more interesting to see and feel that somebody else went through something and you learn something out of that experience.
Exactly,
right?
exactly. That's what I love.
Yeah, same. So, well, what track shall we play then for Alizé?
Definitely Moi Lolita, I think is like a classic. Probably like Mylène Farmer, like they're all so amazing. Because, I think my favorite one is Une belle journée. C'est une belle journée. I love this one. This is amazing.
Sounds great.
Yeah. We're starting really French, but we'll get into international music later.
Chérie. I mean, we're looking out here on the beautiful Parisian roof. And I know it's very tricky, but how would you describe yourself with 3 songs?
Oh my God. I have so many, like my last show was all about being your own muse and showing how like as a human you have so many different facets of yourself and so many different sides and how complex and versatile one can be. It's so hard to choose 3.
It's impossible.
I have no idea how to choose 3.
It should be maybe the first 3 that pop on top of your head, basically. Nothing is definite. It moves. The sound moves.
That's the thing with me is like I never define myself like that. Okay, what am I loving right now? Oh, this is incredible. This is Seychelles from this artist is incredible.
Persis, yeah. Love.
This I adore. This is like my go-to. What else do we have? This is something that I played at my last show, You're So Special, from Tiga and Clarion.
Oh, yeah. Clarion. Shout out to Clarion here.
Yeah.
And to Tiga.
Which I love. Well, you said he was your first guest, right?
One of my first guests,
Yeah.
You feel that I could be the one, but I have feelings too. You feel that I could be the one, but I have feelings too.
You're so special, and you're really giving, and you've been working on yourself, and you have feelings, and they're such valid feelings, and a diet, and a regimen, and you're so flexible, and you're never judgmental, and I wanted to tell you that I really did notice that you're so generous, and you're not judgmental, and you're so special, and you're really so special.
You feel that I
I guess I'll have to have something like Grimes in there somehow.
We love some Grimes, don't we?
Yeah. And if I may add a fourth.
You can add as many as you want, but
I'll have to put Lindsay Lohan just because it is part of my identity, and I do think she would have had a great career in the music industry had she made better choices. Hope she's not listening to this, but I support and adore her. So yeah.
Still trying to get Lindsay on the show. Come on, Lindsay.
You should.
Yeah, I know.
She has a podcast actually. I think she just launched her own.
No, who doesn't? Who didn't? Did you see her Mykonos thing she had a couple of years ago?
Yeah, I think it's closed now. I actually missed it.
I think it was like one summer. I think it was a reality
Yeah.
TV kind of around it as well.
Yeah.
And no, it's impossible. But if you could identify your brand with one artist or song that for you screams your DNA as a brand.
As a brand, oh my God, that is the impossible question again.
Like, for instance, we're looking at your beautiful upcoming collection here, right? What inspired you? What track would inspire this collection?
So one of the tracks that we had for this collection, the whole concept of the Désir collection, which was Spring Summer 22, you can't tell right now on the rack because everything looks so pastel-y and white and soft and stuff. But it was meant to be all about desire. And some of the girls were wearing like these like crystal dresses that were unraveling and a bit destroyed. And it was all about embracing imperfection. And it was also about being like looking kind of angelic, but being actually dating a really bad guy or like a very dangerous guy. So, and it was like in this like Megan Fox era where she's like a goth girlfriend. So we were embracing that. So like picture like a gorgeous boy or girl that's like with a bad boy. So it was very goth girlfriend vibes. And so the soundtrack we had was pretty cool. And because it was 9 yeah, which is always impossible for me to say. It's such a mouthful. There's this one that says like, fuck you like an animal.
Of course, that's, I guess, till this day, the biggest hit.
Yeah.
So you actually use music as a source of inspiration for your collections. I mean, it sounds it's entwined.
100%. When it comes to the shows, I always have some sort of idea of what the models are going to be walking to. The way we started was I loved having these moments where we would add in the soundtrack with the music, we would add snippets of voiceover or like outtakes from like a movie or something like that. So like first season, we had all my favorite girls from the 2000s. We took like interviews from Lindsay, from the Olsen twins, from Paris, and we integrated some of their like go-to sentences or like the most ridiculous pieces of their interviews in the show just because I idolize them and I love them. And it was like super, super cool. The second season, we did this thing where we integrated like a dialogue from a porn director, a French porn director, like very iconic, called Cadino. And it's from like really early years in French gay porn. And the movies were amazing. They actually looked like Mylène Farmer videos because it's so vintage when she started.
What years were these movies?
I would have to find the ref for you, but they were actually beautiful movies. and really hot, of course. But the dialogues, like people, they would put much more work in dialogues back then. You don't need dialogues today, but yeah. So that was really cool. And just like mixing, like I said, like the brand and I am as well, very like, complex and versatile. And like, I love to mix references of high and lows and, pop culture versus art and stuff like that. So we love to just showcase all these different influences into one thing and just make it something a bit more interesting and unique. So I don't even know if I answered the question.
You did. But we're touching the subject of masculinity and what it is today, which I think is a big theme in your life and also in your work. Mm-hmm. But before we get into that, I was just like, do you actually create like audio mood boards that goes with the collection? Or do you actually have like a sound designer that comes in and say, hey, what do you think of this and that? Like, do you actually create the soundtrack yourself?
No. So like what we do is, since the very first season, I work with Lucas Irish, who's incredible with music. And we just like connect. And like, I'll just tell him like one song that I love and a vibe and describe the collection. And he's like a human library of every music ever made. And he'll totally always understand the vibe that I'm going for. And he's always surprised because I'll just bring out a random ref and he'll be like, oh my God, this is like such a vibe now. And I'll be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And so I think like, just like fashion, like music is something where, it comes around and you'll have music from the 90s that maybe come back now or stuff like that, like influences from just the same way it is in fashion. So what I'll do is like throughout the season, I'll tell him like, okay, this is what we're doing. This is the mood board. So he'll see like with visuals and with the fabrics, he's very sensitive to the making of garments and stuff like that. And so he'll see it and then he'll be like, okay, in this world, you'll have this and this and that. And then we'll listen to music together and we'll figure out what's the best thing to do. And one thing that I love every season, something that really turns me on, is like an artist whose voice, you can tell if it's a man or a woman. And I think that's very powerful because there's this possibility of projecting anything onto the voice. And if you don't know who the singer is, then just imagine how they look like. So it just gives you another access of like imagination into what they're singing about and what they look like and what would be the environment that you would be listening to music to.
Do you remember that voice, that artist that you use, exactly, that walks that fine line between masculinity and femininity?
Well, it's usually not a natural voice. It's like a voice that's been edited to be lower or higher or whatever. So I don't think it's usually the artist's natural voice. I mean, it's kind of
it's edited and post a little bit.
Yeah. Or it's like slowed down, or it's, I love when you hear that. So like, for example, one music that I've never actually used in a show, but that I love to listen to is there's this remix from Destiny's Child, Say My Name, and it's slowed down so much, and it's also like a different pace and a different sound, and it just sounds so cool because it makes you feel like you're altered almost when you're listening to it, which I think is really cool.
And I think that is a great image to have, or sound to have, when looking at your work. It's like this fine line that you walk.
Yeah.
And you're challenging the image, the traditional image of masculinity, right?
Yeah.
And what it means to be masculine today.
Exactly.
What does it mean to be today, in your words, where are we heading? Tell me, what is that image of today, or what could it be?
For masculinity?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's with the brand, I always say that it's like a journal where I'll just like, put my feelings and my experience into it. It's a journal about, what it's like to navigate the world today, whether it's me or my friends or people from my community. So I love to look at it that way. And I think in terms of just like masculinity, I think what's important is just being in touch with just being a human in general, more so than just being a boy or a girl, and just like free yourself from any label, because labels are great for the people who want to be attached to a label, because if that helps them define themselves and create their own identity, that's amazing. But I think
They can
sometimes
also hide behind that or cling on to that.
exactly,
To give them the
which
confidence.
sometimes is like an armor or something.
Yeah.
So to each their own. But I think masculinity today is more about being in touch with yourself and your own environment and your experience, and then define who you are through that, and just decide for yourself what you want to look like, what you want to dress like, how you want to act, regardless of society's prediction of what you should be. So yeah.
Love it. Another theme in your work I see, and even looking around this beautiful imagery here, is erotica.
Yeah.
Tell me the connection to SM, to erotica, to male gay porn, and Robert Mapplethorpe.
Well, so when I first started, again, the collection for the debut collection was a collection about, how do you call that again? A coming of age story.
Okay.
So growing up, I always thought I was straight. And then going to fashion school, changing the environment that I was in, I discovered that there was a million other possibilities in terms of sexuality. And then as I was working on my first collection, I found out I started dating a guy, and I fell in love with this man, and we ended up being together for 5 years, and he was my first boyfriend ever. And so through this first collection, I was kind of looking at all the references that could inform a young gay man discovering themselves today. And I love starting with what was before me so that I can inform what is today. So Robert was a key inspiration, because what happened for me to allow myself to get into this space was I read Just Kids by Patti Smith, and she basically describes how she and Robert fell in love with each other to New York, and together were this incredible couple that was madly in love with each other, and that were also discovering what it's like to build your identity as an artist and as a person. And their work is very personal. And reading that, I was like, oh wow, like that's like a straight, or at least a guy that was in love with a woman, and then he found out he was gay. And so I was like, oh, that's kind of like my story. So I related to him through her story, because I don't think he wrote anything, but I guess her version of the story must be very accurate. And she's like, I actually met her a few months ago, and I was like starstruck, because I was like, your book changed my life.
Also a friend of the show, first episode was Patty. Yeah.
She's just amazing.
Yeah, actually incredible.
And like, I'll always be forever grateful, because it's the way it was written was very delicate and very soft and very authentic. And so that was something that I can only recommend. And again, that's an autobiography. So like, it's like I said, it's like, it can be life-changing reading a book like that. And then I was like, wow, like he's actually really kinky. I'm like really into that. And I was also that way. And I was like, okay, I need to get into his work. And he was immediately a huge inspiration. I also loved how he managed to show gay sex in a way that was beautiful, elegant, and arousing and sexual, and sometimes very intense. It's not for everybody. It's not for everybody's eyes. But I feel like because it comes from the heart, I don't see something that's like provocative in a way that they want to create a negative reaction in somebody. It's always like, this is the truth. This is my honest truth. And if you love it, amazing. If you don't, that's also fine. And I think that's kind of the way that I wanted to show sex, gay sex, and homoerotica in my work, was in a way that was genuine and authentic and delicate. I think he was probably like evolving in an environment that was a bit darker than my own. So like my version of it is a bit more, like light and sunny and innocent. But I like to play with the darkness of it too. And I like to present something that could be like a dark, sexy object in a lighter light or a lighter lighting, and in a way where people can access it and wonder what it's about. And the work is also very up to interpretation. So you'll see something and you'll be like, oh my God, he's so kinky, or he's like this or that. But then somebody else will be like, oh, that's such a beautiful piece of garment or whatever, because they might not have the visuals or the experience that's a bit more kinky in their head. So it depends on everybody's own
experience.
Yeah. And that's something that I love with the work that I do, is it's always a proposition. It comes from a bunch of, references from my own experience, and then people make it their own. But definitely I've been collecting ever since, queer art. And yes, you're looking at, this one is from Bob Miser, who is an incredible photographer. He actually was friends with like David Hockney and stuff. And so like this bathroom was
Chateau,
featured. Huh?
That bathroom looks like it's in the chateau.
It's not actually. I don't know where it was, but it's like David Hockney had it in his paintings. Like the one where there's this guy, like trying to grab something from the floor and you see his ass up. Like that's the same bathroom that was painted. And he was actually sent to jail back then because male nudes were not allowed in America. You can do that. So he was sentenced, and then he was in jail, and then he left, and then he continued to do his work. And there were always naked boys, and they would wear sometimes like an underwear or some piece of like fabric. And his mom was the one doing these items, which I think is so funny and interesting. And then this is Willy Vanderpeer. We collaborate with every season for our campaigns. This boy is like got his crotch open, and you can see his balls coming out of our iconic eyelid briefs. Yeah. And this is Igor Piotr, who's like a friend of mine, and that's a self-portrait of him laying naked on a bed. I guess there's a lot of naked guys around.
Well, it's important because you're in your studio, and I guess this is where it's a source of inspiration. So it's, again, creating your environment.
Yeah, you would think that as a designer, I would have more inspiration of clothing, but it's only body. So, yeah.
I love that, though. Do you remember a song or a soundtrack that kind of guided you through that period when you realized you're coming of age and you're coming out and you're falling in love with this boy? Do you remember there was a song that kind of helped you do that move and also kind of lifted your spirits?
I was definitely more in tune to listen to music that was more gay, and like owning the fact that I was like into, all the pop queens and everything like that. I remember going to Fire Island for the first time and was like, oh my God, like this is like the mecca of like being gay. Like this is like every gay man's like should be introduced to Fire Island, because if they want to, of course, because you just learn so much being there. And I remember something so special was I think on Sundays, they play tunes in this big room, and you see all the generations of, gays, whether they're super young or super old, and they're all gathering together, listening to iconic gay tracks. And I just remember learning so much about gay culture and just discovering like old Madonna videos and being like, what the hell is this? But just loving it because it was so almost humbling to see how much, culture we have and how many things we've gone through as a community. So that was amazing. And that was very cool because I just love, the same way that I love mixing references from different horizon, I also love discovering different ages and steps of like gay culture. So that was super cool.
Wow. So what track would you play for that Fire Island moment?
Oh my God, I can't remember. Honestly, it was just a sensation. I remember an iconic video of like Cher and another girl singing in like full crystal looks.
I love how they were watching it.
I can't remember. So honestly, I can't remember exactly the song, but
I'll find it.
Because I probably am more visual and like sensation, but yeah, it was amazing.
Well, and to the theme of erotica, do you have like a song that's super? Usually I ask what's the sexiest song, but we'll get to that because I think there's a difference between erotica and sexiness.
Okay.
Do you agree?
100%.
There you go. So what's an erotic song to you? What's the most erotic song?
Well, okay, so one song that I've played for one of my shows, which I adore, it's a remix of Breathe on Me by Britney Spears. And I usually would have told you like the voice of a man would have been an erotic song, but this is so good just because she is an icon, and also the remix is really incredible. So I'll just play it for you so you can listen to it, and you'll probably add it later on. But it's just like, again, like very slow and sexy and just breathing.
Love it.
If you're like at the rave and you listen to this, you're like flying. It's amazing.
Talking about the rave, from all your gigs that you played at your friend's party, what song would you play having 1 glass of champagne, and what song would you play having 5 glasses of champagne?
Oh, wow. Like it just depends on the crowd and the circumstances.
Your ideal scenario, you're at your house party with some friends that you love, or not even, maybe it's a fashion week party and you're playing.
Well, I love Thunder by my girl, Honey Dijon.
Honey, shout out to our girl, Honey. What up, baby?
She is an icon. And it's just, again, like that's, again, one of these voices that you don't know what you're listening to. So I really love that.
Pounding on my heart like a kick drum beat, blowing through my mind like a melody, and it tastes like honey on my lips, so sweet. Yeah, you're the only one who brings me to my knees.
Something that's a signature me is Only Fire, you have to know Only Fire.
Okay.
You don't know Only Fire?
I will know.
Oh my God, it's literally the best. Okay, I'll make you listen. She's a friend. Only Fire has very, very dirty songs. Like
Great.
the lyrics are sung by the iPhone, and they make her say really dirty stuff. Okay, so the classic is this one. I'll put the lyrics for you so you can see it.
Can you make that dick rain on me? Tell me, boy, cause I need to know. Can you leave a white stain on me so that people know I'm a hoe? Can you make that dick rain on me? Tell me, boy, cause I need to know. Can you leave a white stain on me so that people know I'm a hoe? I can swallow all the load, but if the coming's fresh, man fingers down my throat, and I throw up in the trash can, but he eats fruit, and his sperm ain't problematic, so I don't have to worry about that and be dramatic. That dick hit me harder than this bass. Now I got cum all over my face. I know every bitch wants to get a taste, but please give me and my man some space. Bitch, stop looking and tie your lace. This stain on my face I won't erase. It would be a damn disgrace for such a great to go to waste. Can you make that dick rain on me? Tell me, boy, cause I need to know. Can you leave the white
I'm not gonna make my singing debut here. That's gonna be for another episode.
Can you make that dick rain on me? Tell me, boy, cause I need to know. Can you leave the white stain on me so that people know I'm a hoe?
But there's like everything. Like there's double penetration.
This is for champagne glass number 1.
Number 1, because it's still like pop and like lyrics and stuff, and then for a bit more like less lyrics, more mood, like.
And for 5 champagnes?
Yeah. For after,
When you had 5 glasses and you're DJing and the party's popping.
I mean, if you're still on just champagne,
Tequila, champagne, whatever it is.
at some point in the night, I'll have to put "Waiting for Tonight."
Let's do it.
You I mean, you know it.
Yeah. That I know. It's such a good track.
Actually, Honey played it at Panorama. I went to Panorama Berkheim like for the first time in my life a few weeks ago, and she played it, and people were like, or was it her? Was she? I think she did. I'm not sure because it was a long night. I'm not sure if it was her, but I think it was her. I can't remember.
Did the crowd go crazy?
She'll have to tell me. Oh, people went wild because it's like one of these songs that you don't necessarily expect at Berkheim. You know what I mean? So that was. Yeah, it was incredible.
Like a movie scene in the sweetest dream, I pictured us together. Now to feel your lips on my fingertips, have to say is even better than I ever thought it could possibly be. It's perfect, it's passion, it's setting me free from all of my sadness, the tears that I've cried. I have spent all of my life waiting for tonight. Oh, when you would be here in my arms, waiting for tonight. Oh, I've dreamed of this love for so long, waiting for tonight.
And when you're getting ready for a night out, let's say going to Berghain, and you're like going through your closet and you really want to get into the mood, what's your go-to getting ready for a night out? Do you have a go-to track?
Charlie XCX. Yeah, she's like the last album is incredible. She's so good. She's amazing. I'll say Kim Petras is also amazing. Like all these girls I love. Like they're the best, like getting ready.
And what track shall we play?
Well, they're all so good. Well, this one is really like, okay, let's go party. Used to know me.
Used to know me, now you don't. You had me around your finger, you had me on the floor. I used to be your angel, now I'm walking out your door. You say I'm turning evil, I say I'm finally pure. Shine bright in my reflection, think I lost myself before. Held me back, tied me up inside a cage. Had to change my life, 'cause I knew you'd stay the same. Couldn't see you were standing in my way. I can see clearly now. You used to know me, now you don't.
That's also good for the first champagne glass.
There you go. Do you need that, us being here in Paris and we talk about Berlin, but as a designer, as an artist, do you need that friction of a city? Like you need to have the cultural exchange with the community or with people going out? Or are you more like I need more solitude and silence in order for my creativity to actually work?
I think both. It depends what I'm doing, I guess. But when I'm at work, I'm very private. Like I like to have my own space. I like to work quietly. I can't, depending what I do though, because if I'm just like, for example, if I'm working on a crystal dress, I'm like listening to all the girls that I want to manifest that are going to wear the dress. So I can have like a fun pop playlist or listen to like more like dark stuff too. But I like to like at work kind of stay focused, but then at the weekend I'll need to like go out and have fun. And I think always going out is such a fun thing for both myself and also the people that follow me and support the brand, because they get to see me having fun. And I think that's also something really fun to see for them. So it's like kind of like a win-win where we like inspire each other. I always say that my collections are always like the result of like a conversation between me and the community where we influence each other and inspire each other. Like I'll put out a collection and they'll be inspired by it, but then they'll make it their own and then they'll put their own twist on it. And then I'll be like, or I'll see them in the club or whatever. And I'll be like, oh my God, that's so cool. And then I'll like, you know, we kind of like bounce ideas together, and I think it makes the collections richer and just like more interesting.
I love it. It's an open conversation.
Yeah,
There's an
always.
exchange going on.
For sure.
I was like, do you have like a dream muse that we need to manifest right now that you'd love to work with?
I have so many muses.
Top 3.
Top 3. Oh my god. I always blank when I hear this when I have this question because I have so many, and then we also have been so lucky to achieve so many of these dreams. I would love to see, now I'm just going to be fangirling, but I would love to see Justin Bieber in some LDSS for a music or for a concert or whatever. That'd be so cool because he's just like goals.
Justin, if you're listening, or his peeps, we're manifesting this right now. Thanks.
And then muses, she has heard me say this a million times, but like Giselle, she has a comeback. She was just on the cover of V magazine. I would love to see her in LDSS. There's obviously like very cool girls that I would love to see, but they're like taken with other bigger brands. So we'll see.
We're going to manifest this. We're going to make it work.
Who can I think about? Julianne Moore. That would be stunning. But she's like a Bottega girl now. I don't think she'll be able to wear anything of mine. But let's see. Maybe there'll be an opening at some point.
I never said Julianne. Come on. Well, to go slightly more intimate, what's your go-to falling in love or heartbreak song?
My boyfriend and I have fallen in love with Venice Beach. I know it sounds stupid. Lana Del Rey. She's a queen. I don't think I've ever dressed her. But she doesn't wear
that work.
Yeah, she doesn't wear a lot of fashion except for like Gucci and stuff, I guess. But I would love to see her in LDSS.
Ben, if you're hearing this.
This track is like so long and there's so many beautiful things in it. One of the moments that my boyfriend and I realized that we were falling in love with each other was listening to this song the day after going out, just being in love with each other on a sofa and just like living our best life. And it was forever a beautiful moment. And whenever I listen to it, I'm like, oh my God, like I almost want to cry, which probably most people don't have that feeling towards this song, but I just love it. It's so beautiful.
Feel fun, feel love, fresh out of fucks forever, trying to be stronger for you. Ice cream, ice queen, I dream in jeans and leather, live stream, I'm sweet for you. Oh God, miss you on my lips. It's me, a little Venice bitch, on the stoop with the neighborhood kids, calling out bang bang kiss kiss. You're in the yard, I light the fire, and as the summer fades away, nothing cold can stay. You're right, I tour, we make it work. You're beautiful and I'm insane. We're American made. Give me Hallmark, one dream, one life, one lover. Paint me happy and blue.
And then when the love gets more heated up and more intense and you're lying on a sofa and you're feeling super sexy, what's the sexiest song?
Oh, sexiest song.
Where do you think I was going?
No, I thought we were gonna talk about the breakup song because I don't think they're similar.
Okay, let's do it. I thought you wanted to skip the heartbreak, but let's go to the heartbreak.
I did have a heartbreak collection.
Oh wow! Okay.
Yeah. That featured "Free Love." I don't know if you know, but that was not the song that I was gonna say. But I'll put it anyway because that was from a show I did, Free Love, from Depeche Mode. This I love. Do you know it? But this is not breakup. This is again falling in love.
This is just an interlude.
Yeah, this is again falling in love. What I'll say is like if I was in the mood to break up with somebody, I'll just channel my inner Kim Petras. We're both Virgos, So we're both very precise with language and words. Like she's born on the 27th of August. I'm born on the 28th. So we're very similar. And there's these badass songs that she has, which are like really like, okay, you did that. Like forget about me. You'll never see me again kind of thing. So I'm very much in that mood. And I'll just like hit the gym and be listening to the song for over and over and over and over. That's like breakup for sure. It's sassy. It's like all of that. It's not as sad. It's a thing like where you're like, well, whatever, you're less.
Never loved nobody harder. Never ever felt stronger. Thought that we would last forever. Gave me something to believe in. Thought that you were all I needed. Look at me, I'm still breathing. I used to cry over you, baby. I've wasted all this time. Now I got ice cold heart. VVS is on, they got ice hot. Kind of funny how the money can replace the love. So dumb, I don't feel it inside me. So dumb, I believe you really like me.
No, I love that. That sometimes, because we also pre-programmed that we think if it's like a sad song or a happy song, it
Yeah.
needs to be this. But it's again what you consider.
It's about the lyrics again and about the mindset that you're in. Yeah, I guess I don't really listen to sad songs so much because I'm like usually never sad. Pretty positive
That's a
person.
very good state to be in.
Yeah.
You're lucky.
But yeah, sexy song.
Yeah, so after the heartbreak, you're out and about in Paris and you're feeling super sexy, or you're in Los Angeles where you recently were just there. So.
Yeah. Well, again, just because of the title of the song, it's not necessarily like in the long run type of song, but just because of the title, I think this is hot. It has 2 lyrics, but I think it's hot. It says open your mouth. Yeah. So it just leads to stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard that, and you have to tell me what recently caught your attention in terms of nightlife and music and design as well. But I heard recently, actually, another guest of our show was Rick Owens, and he talked about how there's an insane nightlife right now, currently outside of Paris, like in the outskirts.
Oh, yeah.
So tell me, I mean, what's happening in Paris right now? Everyone's talking about it. Give me the rundown. I'm sure you know what's up.
I do. I do like going out. I know, like, well, the parties outside Paris, it's like these parties are organized that take place. There are like raves and stuff, and they usually never take place at the same space just because I don't know if it's to keep us entertained or if it's just the way it's organized. But I guess like they'll be in like these big warehouse places and they're really fun. And they're usually LGBTQI plus and very like they'll tell you at the entrance, like you have to be friendly to, you know, gay people, queer people in general. Blah, blah, blah. And so it's always a safe space for people to go there, let loose and have fun. And the music is, I guess it's just, again, like depends on the night, the kind of night that it is. If it's more like queer or gay, or if it's young or old, or just like sex, like it just depends. I know I'm not like a one sound music kind of person. Like if it's always the same sound, it's just like I'm bored. I don't know. It's like what I love is just being all together and listening to whatever music they're playing. If they get you going, like that's the most fun. But there are really good parties. I did go to a really good party in LA too. That was at T27, I think. It was with T27, and it was the Simi Hayes party, and I think The Weeknd was there DJing. Like there was a bunch of people. Piggy Goo was DJing. She was amazing. I actually fell in love with her when I was there.
Shout out to our girl Peggy.
She's so beautiful, and she's so talented, and she's so gracious, and she had me dancing all night. She's amazing. I'm like, I wanted to follow her everywhere she was going, but she's always in a different city every night because I think she's like on tour now. She's amazing. I loved her.
I just read this article like a few days ago, how in New York it's the same thing, just what you're saying. It's not about one location anymore. It's more about you follow a party or a group of people around to different locations. And there was one, I think it was a young DJ or DJing or promoter who was quoted in that article, like early 20s. It's like a club or a space is about, it's business. It's about making money. Whereas these like moving parties, it's actually about the music.
Exactly.
And I think that's what rave culture originally came from, right? This is what it was. It's like in the fields somewhere outside of London.
And you get to like, because it's outside Paris, you commit. So like if you go there, you're going there for a good amount of time and you just commit to it, and it's a safe place. And that's amazing too, because you get to wear whatever you want, which you would probably not wear whatever you want in a club in the city or in Paris. There isn't really a club scene in Paris. Again, it's more about these like organizations or groups of people that organize these parties that are really, really fun. And they're all different. Like there's all different kind of parties.
Well, I hope you're going to take me.
Yeah. There's one every weekend, actually.
There you go. Well, to wrap up our wonderful little chat, if your life would be a movie, what song would play in the end?
Oh my God. This I have no clue. Because I feel like... The
LDS documentary on Netflix. What's it going to play? What's at the end credits?
Oh my God, I don't know. Like, what I'll say is like people always say like life is so short, but I actually think life is so long. And I think that we're in a moment in, the human history where people are forever changing and stuff. So it's hard to imagine what my soundtrack would be at the end of the film. I have no idea. I think like life is so full of surprises, like you can't, and I'm like discovering new people every day. I don't know what it could be. It would have to be like a positive, beautiful, sensual thing just to put you in a good note at the end of the movie. What could it be? I have no idea. I don't know how to answer this one. We'll have to watch the movie to find out.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for being on air with us. It was a real pleasure.
My pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, my pleasure. Avec plaisir, chérie, avec plaisir. Ciao.
Bye.
Thank you for tuning in this week. If you want to listen to the full playlist, visit areonair.com or our Spotify channel. You can also find us on Instagram and on YouTube at areonair. And a big thank you to my wonderful team at Studio Neu. I'm Arman Nafei, and I'll speak to you soon.